Welcome to Food Shrinks.
Welcome to Food Drinks. We have a good one for you today, fam. But before we get started, we have to ask for help. And we do support asking for help. We need your help to keep our podcast alive. We love to podcast, but unfortunately, our free content is not free. And the way that you can help us to keep Food Shrinks alive, there's a couple of things. First of all, we need you to subscribe. Then we need you to rate. We love a 5-star, but you do you, boo. And the final thing is, could you share this podcast with others? Because the more people who are listening, the more alive and well and healthy and sustainable our podcast becomes. We love you so much and we just love this work and we need your help to support it. Big hugs, big whoosh. Let's get the podcast started.
All right. So we're doing listener question today, right?
Yeah, listener question.
So we have a listener who has written in, who has a question that I think a lot of people probably have. And they said, why can't I stay abstinent, right? When we've got these severe medical diagnoses, including cancer, why can't we stay abstinent even when we get this scary news that should really, right? Like we think should get us to get on the bandwagon. So what do you think? What is it that keeps us from staying abstinent or getting abstinent?
Well, I want to share one thing. I very rarely know the science, as we all know, but it's actually, there's this great book. I don't know if you guys ever read it. Probably not because of the title. It's called Change or Die. And one of the things that he said, that's probably why you wouldn't pick it up. One of the things that he says in the book is that there's 3 ways that people don't change. Okay. The first one is fear. So you can't scare someone into change. Force. You can't force someone into change. And facts, knowing. You're not going to know and change. So, I mean, listen, like sort of hearing like, yeah, like I even have cancer and I can't stay abstinent. I mean, I don't know. Like I've been sober a long time. Like people can't stop drinking when they have babies. I mean, welcome to addiction, queen. We got to think outside of the box. So it's not like I'm not sitting here like, oh, she has cancer and still can't stop eating sugar. I'm like, oh, that's like a pretty solid addiction. We really got to like think about this. So I think that's the first thing I'm thinking. Like that's pretty, not to say like it's hopeless by any means, but it's pretty normal. Even when you have cancer and you're doing really bad, people have lung cancer and continue to smoke. I mean, this isn't like groundbreaking. Like, can you believe it? Like, I believe everything about addiction. The longer I'm an addictions therapist, the more I believe everything about addiction. I will start there. Who's next?
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge too how like frustrating and disheartening this struggle can feel at times because you are putting everything into it. But like Molly said, it is so much about addiction and how the brain actually reprioritizes the substance over everything else in our lives, anything else, our children, our own life. It's got that pathway, and this is what it will be seeking. And because of the dopamine, it has learned that this is what will make you feel better, especially if you have cancer.
I love that.
Especially if you're struggling with something. So it has learned that this is a way to take care of yourself. It is also motivating you, dopamine, to go get that thing that will make you feel better. And so to me, it makes perfect sense that you're experiencing these emotional and stressful times, and the sugar is speaking to you probably louder than ever before.
Right. It's that bind of addiction, right? It's like the thing that's killing you is the thing that's, relieving the pain. Like that's always going to be the bind.
Right. Yeah. And just I think like having read the specific email and just feeling like there was this underlying moral dilemma, like as if somehow there's something wrong with me, with us, when we continue to use substances or engage in these compulsive behaviors, even when we know there are consequences that are pretty, can range anywhere from mild to deadly. And I just want to remind everybody too, this is not a moral issue whatsoever. Literal brain structures in you have changed, right? These structures in your brain have changed. They have been hijacked, and we can't change them back once they've been dysregulated in that specific way. We all, the things that we do when it comes to treatment and intervention is we try to lay that, competing pathway to bypass, some of those old default things that say, quick, you're feeling stress in some sort of way, anesthetize it, numb it out in some way, shape, or form. We work really hard when in, groups or in individual sessions to say, okay, let's notice when that happens. Can we build in a pause? Can we get these tools? And it's really easy to talk about that. And it's a whole nother ballgame to put that into practice, especially when you are in this kind of state of crisis with this kind of diagnosis.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying about the change or die. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, but I should be scared enough to change. And I'm like, well, that's not how people change. Like, I wish. Oh my God. I was like dying of obesity. I mean, I was dying. Then I had bariatric surgery and I ate through that. I mean, this thing is real. I mean, this thing is real. So I think the first thing is, yeah, like, let's not moralize it. Let's not do any of that. Hey, want to hear his solution while we're talking about the
Sure. Yeah. What does he talk about in the book?
So then he talks about the solution, which is like the way that we inspire change in people is that and it's true, right? We relate, we build strong relationships and connections with others that can motivate us to change. So we find our people, right? Like my people I'm with right now, because the social, the opposite of addiction is connection. Then we repeat that, right? Because change requires practice and repetition, and developing new habits takes time, which is, I think there's a lot of forgiveness in this question, needed in this question. And reinforcement helps solidify changes. And then we reframe, which is a big one, I think. And what this one needs, right? We have to change the way that we perceive a situation so that we can change our mindset, because it's a very fixed mindset, what she's saying here, right? It's like, can you believe it? I can't even stop eating. And it's like, we gotta get that growth mindset. We gotta get the jaws of life to open up the possibilities of what's available in recovery. And he says, when we reframe experiences and challenges, we can see them like as opportunities and gifts. And
okay, so let's play this game a little bit. So I'm this person and I've, maybe had cancer in the past or diabetes, or I'm about to lose an eye, something. And I continue to binge most days of the week and I come to you for help.
Which one of us?
Whoever wants to start. Somebody help me. I'm screaming.
Knock it off. What's
help.
wrong with you? No, just kidding.
Okay, you're fired. Next.
You have cancer. Come on. What's wrong with you? Can't you stop?
Again,
No, I'm just kidding.
next.
Fire me. Fire me immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, first, I would absolutely validate you and how hard this is and how challenging and frustrating this must be for you. And let you know that this is so common with everyone we work with, that in my own life, I've experienced this. You think that maybe 2 DUIs is enough to stop drinking? No.
Nope.
No, that the addiction drive was so strong, and that I can completely relate to where you're at, because you think that this is something you've done, something you've created, and something you're not able to fix.
And but listen, social media, my doctors, people are telling me it's my fault that I keep choosing what I'm eating. All I need to do is maybe moderate. I've tried it all. So it must be me.
That's one opinion.
Yeah.
That's one opinion. I think, are you open to a different perspective?
Yeah, let's
hear it. Can I be a perception salesperson? Can I offer you some different perceptions and some different ideas about this? I'm going to promise you something. If you believe that, you will magnetize, you will find the vultures that will definitely buy what you are selling there. I am not that vulture though. I am not in that belief system. And I think if we really want to get you to change, we're going to have to really shift the perception that this is your fault. I just don't know how we get better with that belief, right? So one thing that I'm hearing, and I love my cohort's little validation technique over there. It's wonderful. I agree. It's much, and I think especially if you're on social media, you're probably also getting fed that this is very easy. And that's kind of how they get you. And it seems that the strain of addiction that you have is not. And that's going to be the second thing that we need to accept. And so one of the things that I'm thinking about is I'm worried that we are taking aspirin when we need to be taking antibiotics here, because my experience of healing is that we need to make our solution as big as our problem. And that's what I'm worried about here. Right.
Mhm.
So what does
So
that mean? Tell me more, like if I'm
thank
willing
you.
to
I
hear
will,
you.
Molly.
Yeah.
Thanks for the
Yeah. Thanks.
offer. So
Yeah.
one of the things I'm thinking, and just for whatever it's worth, just to go out, like, what does your support network look like? How often are you engaging in recovery? Whatever it is, we need to get more of it, right? We need to get you more friends. We might need to get you more help. That doesn't necessarily mean more money. But in my experience, the addiction is so loud. We may need to have food drinks in your head all day. We may need to be listening to podcasts and then calling a friend and then trying a 12-step meeting and then going to sweet sobriety. Like, we may need to just expand the solution, because I think diet culture sells us like this little teeny, like, oh, you should be able to do it this way. And my girl, I had to shut down my life for a year in order to get abstinent. I mean, largely, I'd like go to
Right.
work, go to a 12-step meeting, couldn't eat pasta. I mean, that's just how it was. And I have a big free life today. So that's my
Yeah.
big thought. Is the solution as big as the problem?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great question. And I know I talk to my clients about that too. Like if what we're doing all of a sudden stops working, is it because that intervention actually stopped working, or did the problem get bigger? Did the crisis explode in some kind of way? And do we need to add to it? Does it need something more? And I like to think of it as like ICU. If I've just had major surgery, I've just had heart surgery or something, right? I have to go to ICU for a considerable amount of time until I'm stable enough. And then I don't even go straight home. I go to like a palliative care, like level of the hospital, where maybe I'm there for another several days before I actually get to go home. And then when I go home, I'm pretty much on bed rest with some instructions to move my body a little bit and make sure I'm eating and sleeping and taking my pain medication and blowing into my thing or sucking into the, whatever that like inhaler thing. Yeah, exactly. That guy. Right. So when we're
But if we're
severely ill, we have to, like you were saying, Molly, like make our world almost like ICU level of care. And then as we stabilize, we can step it down incrementally, but it's not like start with an aspirin when we really need open heart surgery.
But if we're
Right.
making this a moral issue, right? If we're saying like, can you believe I just can't stop eating? I mean, that does feel moral. Then we're
Right.
not going to gift ourselves.
The treatment.
It's great. I mean, I just know for me, like, I had to be like, basically, okay, like, I'm going to lose my job. I don't have a plan B. I don't have a trust. I don't have anything. So my hand was really forced. Like, I was alone. I never, like, I wasn't even connected to my family. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to make the treatment plan that I would make for somebody. And I have to follow it because I'm out of ideas. And so, but if you're in a really moral space, if you're in that loop that it sounds like she's in, which is like, can you believe it? There's something wrong with me. Like, we have to really, truly find a different truth in this.
Yeah.
And then make the treatment plan you would make for your daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, community is what will help with the shame,
Oh,
right? Because belonging reduces the shame, and you see that you're not alone in this struggle.
I mean, you're
And to
not
just
alone. We're telling you, we were late.
right. And to just treat the addiction the same as the cancer. What did, the treatment professional said, you need to do this, you need to do that to take care of yourself. Addiction is the same.
Yeah.
And it functions very much the same. So when we find out we have it, there is treatment for it, but it takes work. And it takes, making our life really small while we make the addiction recovery really big.
Like
And then,
literally like in your ear every week. I mean, that's the beauty of the internet. I mean, you could really just be on Spotify all day listening to podcasts, being online meetings, like connecting with like you really could have, that's what you need. You need a different voice with you you need a sober companion, right? But we can do that with our phones now.
Yeah. And to be intentional, obviously, with those voices that then we
Yes.
don't necessarily want those voices to be reinforcing some of those old beliefs. We need those voices that are encouraging us and building hope and, holding space for us as we find our footing. Because if we're binging every single day or close to every single day, it can feel impossible. It can feel hopeless. And if I'm this client, I may have a hard time believing the one person in front of me, my therapist, my coach, my whomever, because I'm paying them. Like I can go to that place where I'm like, well, I'm paying this person to be my cheerleader. Of course they're going to say these things. But like you said, Clarissa, and even you, Molly, like getting into these bigger communities, when I surround myself with people who I'm not paying and they're telling stories, and I'm like, whoa, that's me. That's me 10 years ago. That was me yesterday. That's me today, whatever. I might start to believe that I'm actually not alone.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is like, this is a 12-step mantra, but it's sort of like addiction is a disease that tells you it's not a disease. I mean, you have to sort of know that as you're dealing with this food addiction, right? Which is, it's going to try to stay. So it's going to buy that it's a weight disorder, right? It's going to buy that it's a moral issue. It's going to buy that you're just not trying hard enough. I just don't think you have the right treatment, truly. And the other thing I want to say with what Molly is saying is like, you just literally heard all three of us have been there too. Like, if magnetize yourself towards solution, fight like your life depends upon it, you'll get there.
Yeah. And again, I love the addiction is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to take care of it. The same way with cancer is not our fault, but it's our responsibility to get treatment for it.
Yeah.
And, finding what you need, the things that you've tried so far that haven't worked, try new things.
Yeah.
This is your chance to experiment and get with people who see you and allow yourself to be vulnerable and authentic in this. And the support is what will get you through the times when you can't do this on your own, because this is not something we can do alone. We recover together.
We recover together.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, that's what I found in my little pod over here, honestly.
Yes, we recover together. We recover out loud so others don't have to die in silence. We recover in reality. Like Clarissa, like you were saying, like if you've done things and they didn't work, try something else. If you've done things in the past and they didn't work and you did them on your own, can you try them again with support this time?
Yeah.
If you found that things were too loosey-goosey with your boundaries, do we need to find some structure? If they've been too rigid of boundaries, do we need to find some flexibility? And oftentimes we cannot be our own doctors. As a mental health professional, I cannot diagnose myself. I need somebody else to be that prefrontal cortex for me to be able to say, hey, I've got the 100-foot view. And what if I offer you this other perspective? Like you were saying, Molly, like, can we kind of take a step back and like really get a clear picture on what's going on? And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to struggle as you're getting help. It's okay to keep practicing. I guess the hope that I hold is that even if you're feeling hopeless, I will continue to hold space for you, because I don't think that anybody has failed when they are struggling. I don't think that anybody has failed if they're still binging today and they've been trying to stop binging for 6 months, 6 years, 60 years. Like there is a way for us to find peace.
Right. I think we're also, when we keep trying, is we're failing forward, right? The only time we fail backwards is when we stop trying.
The other thing is, if you think about that, we're all just like parenting ourselves into wellness. Like you're really making this commitment to yourself that you are, I mean, that's the problem. Like you're saying, I will not give up. I write about that in Breaking Up with Sugar, the sacred vow. Before you do anything, you say, I will stay the course of this. I will fight for my life. And diet culture really tries to take you out of that game, but you have 3 food shrinks who believe profoundly in your ability to heal.
Yeah.
There we have it.
There we go. Well, we want to hear more from you.
Yeah.
We love these emails. We love having these discussions. These two didn't know that I was going to play client for a hot second. So kudos to you two for playing along.
Yeah.
So if you want to give us some feedback, if you want to ask questions, please be sure, like Molly said at the beginning, like, share, subscribe, but also you can email us at asktheshrinks@foodshrinks.com.
See you next
week.
Next time. Thanks for listening to Food Shrinks. Quick reminder, this podcast isn't a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult your healthcare provider for guidance suited to your needs. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to help us reach others on the recovery journey. Take care, and remember, freedom with food is possible. See you next time.